Welcome to Sacred Conversations with Mandulo. We are here to share in conversation together, to learn and to grow, and to just recalibrate the nervous system and rewire the brain, because there is so much of our conditioning that has kept us in the fear state and in survival that just listening through these conversations, talking about things that are uncomfortable, we help each other just question things for ourselves. So I'm not here to dictate anything on your behalf. Whether there is resonance, great. And if there's no resonance, that's a great step for you to be able to go, okay, what actually resonates for me? You know, they always say that the best way to know what you do want is by knowing what you don't want. Okay. So each time we learn, this is also a space that if you start feeling triggered, I am just simply a mirror for you and a reminder that as someone and people in my life have passed that information, we all have that responsibility. Once we know, we do better as much as we can. So this is just that platform to open up the questions that we used to have growing up, but we couldn't be answered. So we stepped out of that conditioning and we became curious. So I'm speaking to the curious soul. I'm speaking to the creative, the one who dares to live as fully themselves. So we're here to do that. And it's a very, very, very exciting time to be alive right now. So thank you that I could be part of your journey too, as much as you are part of mine. Okay, so I was trying to figure out what is the topic with this one. And then there's just a few. So it's a question, and then we're going to dive deeper into it. So, is money a materialized exchange of your love? Is money a physical representation of your love? Okay. So we must first understand that this relationship with money comes from the being and then the doing. We are human beings. Okay. So that's the race. The human being is the race. It's light. It's about the emission of light, because when you think of a hue, it's the degrees of light that one can exude. Okay. So when you're exuding low vibrational energy, that will tap into fear. And when you're experiencing high vibrational energy, that will be love and alignment and authenticity. Okay, so you might want to get your pens and papers if you want to as well, because we are learning very much here together. Okay, so fear, love, authenticity, and alignment. Okay. All right, so now you have the hue, the emission of your hue from your center. It also depends from your heart space. So are you clearing and purifying your heart? Are you cleansing and purifying your mind? Or that means that you're also doing that in your body. Because we are holistic. You can't bypass the head, you can't bypass the physical body, and you cannot bypass the heart, because all three are a system that work together to be able to produce as much hue min as possible. So that relationship goes into being. So being is being that thing, embodying the light. So being is a form of embodiment. And once again, there are different degrees to the hue, to the level of embodiment that you have. And this is where we go into self-mastery, because now we're going, if I want to embody peace, that means I'm going to have to release that which is unpeaceful in my life, and I'm going to have to set boundaries for that. And I'm going to recognize that in each conversation that I show up in, that it's an opportunity to learn what peace is. So you could literally meditate on one thing for the whole here. You could just go, I'm trusting myself. I'm trusting myself. I'm trusting myself. I'm trusting myself. Everything to do around that for you is I trust, I trust, I trust, I trust, I trust. So, you can use it as a deep meditation. The doing is inspired action from the being state. Okay. So the doing is the being, is the inspired action from the being state. What is the being state? It is the feminine energy. And then the doing is the masculine energy. So these things are represented in so many different forms, because if we are emitting light, that means that there's going to be a physical representation of that light through conversation, through a place, through a thing, right? Because we are on earth to experience the physical forms of the spirit. So being is tapped into feminine energy, doing inspired. It's very important that it's inspired action. Okay. And then we go into what is feminine energy. Feminine energy, in the most simplest ways, is the unknown space. It's a spiritual space. The masculine energy is the known space and the physical, so the materialized. We have that. All of us have that within us. Okay. So it goes like really deep, because then you go same-sex relationships, then you go then you go opposite. Yeah, so same-sex relationships, and then you go non-same-sex relationships. Is there like a word for it? I'm thinking to myself, like, is there a particular word? I know that there is, but anyways. So now I must make it clear that moving forward with this one, I can only personally speak from the female and the male exchange, okay? But it doesn't mean that if you're in a if you are in a same-sex relationship, that certain things can't apply. So at this point, you'll start to know, is this conversation going where you would like it to go, or you just like, let me just tap out. Thank you for listening thus far. For the rest of you who are continuing, great, let's go, because this is going to be absolutely incredible. Okay, so we have, once again, I'll say feminine energy is unknown and spiritual. Masculine energy is the being and the known. Now, this is where people get it confused with the what is feminine, what is a woman, what is this, what is, all this, like what is masculine energy, what is a feminine energy, what is a man, what is a woman. We must bring back wombed man. Okay? We are humankind, human race. Man on earth is not physical. It is not limited to the physical man who only has, who doesn't have a womb. Okay? We are wombed men. Oh, how do I say that without like making this seem so confusing? Okay, hold on. Okay, let me not use male and female, rather. Let me just stick with the man and the woman. Okay, so there's the man, and then there is the wombed man. Okay, now the wombed man, which is the woman, in the shortest, that like the typical way of saying that, is deeply tapped into, now is the feminine representation of the physical, of the masculine energy. So it's a feminine representation of the masculine energy. So what did I say? Feminine energy is the unknown and the spiritual. The masculine is the known and the physical. You have that as a man, divine union. But if it is not balanced, then you can tell in your relationships. But I'm talking about a divine union within self has both the feminine and masculine energy. Hence why you would hear the term being equally yoked, because you have that divinity of wholeness within yourself, that now the exchange can be more pure, because what you are doing up until you get into that pure state is cleansing the impurities. The impurities come from your lifestyle, come from not feeling safe, come from your relationships that you have in your life, come from your mindset, and then come from your nervous system, which is constantly communicating, let me draw in these people who are healthy, who are emitting a higher vibrational hue. And then sometimes, if you don't know that, because you are in your nervous system that is in survival, you will attract the hue that is in fear. Does that make sense? The hue, which is the light emitting fear. That's why I said it's all one thing. It's just representation in physical format. And I'm speaking, like I said, quote unquote, opposite. Is it heterosexual? Oh my goodness. Should I do this? No, I'm just going with it. Woman, wombed man, and man relationship. Okay, let's go. So now the wombed man is the spiritual. Oof, what is going on with this English? It's just like running away today. Okay. The wombed man is the representation of spirit, so needs the spiritual protection, or represents spiritual protection. So the wombed man represents spiritual protection. The man represents physical representation. That's why you would generally get the man being physically sometimes stronger than a woman. Okay. It's obviously country dependent, because we know. Okay. I don't think I need to say anything further than that. We all know that there are different variations of this. So that's where the extra magic also comes from, that I can't explain right now. It's going to be too much to dissect. Okay, so we have wombed man needs spiritual protection. Very, very important. And then we have the man, which is the physical, which offers physical representation. Now, money. Let's go to that. Money is energy. Okay, like everything. There's energy, vibration, and frequency. Energy is a totality of energy that exists and can be high or low vibrational. The vibration is that you are offering is your vibration that you are offering, the intensity of focus. So that's why they say you pay attention. When you are paying attention, you're paying attention to the energy at hand. So if that energy is of low vibration, you're going to, in your life, bring in low vibrational energy in exchange. Now we go into vibration, which is a denser form of energy. That's what that means. It's a vibration, which is a denser form and can be a more denser form of the energy that you are starting to pay attention to. Then it goes into the frequency. The frequency is the energy of that feeling. So good, not good, happy, joyful, depressed. They all have a certain frequency, hence the hertz. Okay. So that frequency is what you are trying to match, because according to the hue, which is the light, internal light of your beingness from the inside, the spiritual representation, now comes into physical representation through embodiment. Okay. That's why I spoke about embodiment is important. So then if we have a frequency, the highest frequency of exchange, so money is doing the exact same thing as joy, it's doing the exact same thing as depression, it's doing the exact same thing as peace, it's doing the exact same thing as what's the other, guilt. Okay, because it has a certain frequency. Now, you have to match it by what you're paying attention to and the level of focus you pay attention to it. What are the forms? I will keep preaching it. Meditation, meditation, meditation. What people in the media, what has been represented as meditation is a form of meditation, of course, but there's depth to it. It goes way deeper because now you are understanding the fragments of your hue. Because this is why we have synonyms. Because then you say a word like, let me just be guided with the word. A word. I don't know why it's not coming. Inspiration has different synonyms. Okay. It will say excitement. It will say joy. It will say good, feeling good, that gist. So there's synonyms to generally describe the hue that you are paying attention to. The hue is the frequency, which is the vibration that you are becoming more aware of to tap into that frequency. Okay, so the power of 3, you get it? So it's energy, vibration, frequency, taps back into energy, vibration, frequency, but it's all the same thing, and it's really tapped into water. If you think of water, water takes form in water vaporization, it goes into condensation where it becomes a solid form, and then 2, it becomes a liquid. To move, so this is where we go vibration. Your vibration state is basically the level of attention of how you get in between those two states, between the vaporization, the liquid, and the solid. So are you going from solid to liquid? Because vapor is always going to happen, and the water vaporization is the breath, right? That's the connector between the two. That's the exchange, the breath, that's the love, that's the money, that's basically the exchange that we have between each other. It's that breath. Okay. I hope I still have some of you, and if I don't, this is going to give you a lot of food for thought. Okay, so now we have vibration, which is how do you pay attention to moving that condensation, the ice, into more liquid? Because vaporization is always going to happen, right? Vaporization is always going to happen. But now liquid to solid, those are the two. What is happening in between that stage that is blocking the amount of vaporization needed to happen? Sometimes when you put water in an ice block, in an ice tray, it has a certain level of water than you can put to. When you put more, it accumulates from that frame, from that mold, right? So it's the exact same thing. That energy exchange and the cleansing, or the extra additional energy there, is the water vaporization. And that's the communication in the body system to go, am I cleansing and am I purifying myself? And if I am, how am I cleansing it on a deep level so that I'm supporting my system by what I ingest, and then how I cleanse what my body is saying needs to be cleansed of. Okay, so this is where we go into fasting. This is where we go into lymphatic system, drainage. We go into deeper breath work, and all these things help cleanse and purify the body. Okay. Now, the money exchange is the representation of its energy, right? So depending on what you please just give me some time here. Depending on what you have associated with money, because money has a certain frequency, okay? And depending on your vibration and attention, that's what you're going to get from money exchange, okay? So now we have so many debates around, should a man be paying for a woman? Should we go 50-50? And I just want to come back to this. I think back in the days, and I don't even know what days to even go back into right now, what year pops up. But back in the days when women were tending to the home, there was this thing as if a woman was less than, right? So when a man went into work, even if a woman could provide, we just need to understand as wombed men and men that we have different strengths and weaknesses. Okay. It is of high importance that you focus on your highest strengths. Find people who are going to elevate your highest strengths. It's not to say run away from your weaknesses and not learn about them, because there's also a very important stage of understanding what your weaknesses are for the self, and then finding people who are going to help you correctly celebrate your strengths and support them. Now, if you are in a healthy relationship of divine union within self, and you have a divine union relationship within self, wombed woman, wombed man and man, then money is not an issue, because you can still be home as a wombed man and still be making money. And you can be a man going into the world and making money. And I think we need to understand that this is where the rewiring of the brain has to happen, because sometimes, or more often than not, we are living from that era where we were stripped. Women felt wombed men, or the wombed man. Goodness, this is like, it's not a tongue twister per se, but it's like, okay. The wombed man felt suppressed, right? And up until that relationship is healed, then there's a beautiful thing that happens between the exchange, because now you can both be making money and you can find your strengths, do what is in your strengths. And why I go into like the 50-50 and the whether a man should or not, I will say though, on the physical representation, if someone is already not willing to go 100% with you, that's a form of exchange of their love represented. So if already they're saying that we're only going to go 50-50, and please hear me out for what I'm saying here. If they're saying 50-50 and are not willing to go the full 100% because you offer another form of 100% in the spiritual world, and actually, let me give a different perspective, actually, because that was going somewhere where my words were going to be lost, to be quite honest with you. You know, in those conversations when you're like, no, I know, but no. Okay, actually, I don't even want to tap into that yet. That's not for public consumption as yet, but this one is. Okay, so we go into... okay, let me wait, because now my excitement is like, woohoo, it's like on the high. We go into masculine, feminine, spirit and unknown, masculine, known, and physical. What I didn't say, actually, feminine energy is unknown, spiritual, and being. And then the masculine is the known, the physical, and the doing. Okay, cool. So if you're a wombed man, you know that your highest gifts are in the spiritual. That needs spiritual protection. If you're a man, your highest gift is physical protection that you can offer. Those two need to be in exchange fully. Because if you're offering physical representation, you both need to understand, what does that mean for me? And you need to understand that what does that mean for me on both ends. Now, if someone is in the spiritual state to be and to offer, so to be and to offer information in the spirit world, you need that physical representation. Okay. You need that physical representation to protect you. That exchange needs to be one, in agreement. Okay. And if those two are in agreement, money shouldn't be an issue because they are playing to their strengths. The wombed man offers a spiritual, needs to be in the being state. The man offers a physical, needs to be in the doing state. His doing is from inspired action, from the spiritual state or unknown, the feminine. This is so deep. I mean, it goes into like so many conversations to offer around this, but this is just one to go. Is money a materialized form of your exchange of love, a physical representation? Because I want you to understand, wombed man, spiritual protection is needed. Physical protection is needed from the man without the womb. And if those two are in union, money is exchanged freely. Now, I want you to see relationships where, let's say it's like childhood relationships. You see along the way of how they change. And you can see how someone could be draining you. Why? Because you go into inner child wounds. Okay. When you come into a healed, sometimes those relationships remain and then sometimes they don't. But they won't remain if you both not doing the things to grow and to heal the trauma stuck in the body. All right. So usually those relationships can suffer, but people will stay because of loyalty. Okay. And then you go into the client relationship, because this is all a form of relationship and it's all a form of exchange. The healthiest relationships are the ones where the clear exchanges are offered. So you go to a restaurant, you know, you're not going to come barter here and say, listen, I want a burger. Can I sing for you? Unless maybe you can. Maybe the owners are willing to be like, you know what, today we're offering burgers for singing. That's possible. But that form of exchange is not. It's in the form of money. So I think what this lends itself into is having a deeper discussion around money. It's been such a deep meditation for me specifically in my life, and having to heal things from my family's line around money to be able to talk in this manner that I never would have ever thought I would. So it's all healing and it's all about learning and growth, and whatever you feel you took from this, take it. If you want to add, please add, and then share what your experience is of money too. Because I think once we heal the relationship, we heal the money, we really heal the relationships between us, and then we have better and more fairer exchanges. If you'd like to work with me personally, I'm a basically multidisciplinary coach, and we're diving deeper. If there's certain resonance and you're just like, oh, I need to heal certain things around this aspect in my life, and my details are down below. And then 2, please do like, share, and subscribe so that this topic, I guess, is shared to those who it will resonate with. And for me, like I said, it's about opening up conversation, talking about the things that we don't want to talk about so that we don't put ourselves in situations that are unnecessary anymore. I think we all deserve to live a life where we find our divine union within self and our counterparts, and those two match, that we become a vibrational match to who we say we are. So I'm sending so much love to you, and thank you if you've listened up until now.